Long as you alright, then me alright. Me know your man, that's why I'm alive.
Your voice, your music.
Whether me in a skirt or jeans or short shorts, head raised when me walk past. Me feel the eyes, me live the eye, me love the lights, me do it despite.
Baby pana, they say you like you all I got you all baby pana. Anywhere that you go, I can follow you to go, baby. New level.
You're listening to WGHC 98.3 FM.
New level, new level. New level, new level. New level, new level. I them turn Tony in a rebel. Pam pam banana pam panam banana pam pam banana pam panam pam 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 banana pam panam banana pam pam banana pam panam pam.
Your voice, your music, your station. WGHC 98.3 FM.
And now, from the Windy City to the world, this is WGHC 98.3 FM, Chicago's #1 African music station.
I am Mazi KK Odeluga.
Mazi Ejikeme Obasi.
Na Mazi Oke Okachuku.
This is Straight Talk Radio, the world as we see.
Coming to you from WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station.
Listen to us this and every Saturday at 4 to 5 p.m. U.S. Central, and this and every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. U.S. Central.
Ndewono.
Hey, Igbo kwenu. Hey, Moano. Hey, Sotano. Hey, Matano. Hey, Kweson. Hey.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Straight Talk Radio, coming to you from GHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station. Thanks for joining us and for listening to us, and we're glad you joined us on Soccer Saturday. If you're watching FIFA soccer, well, if you're cheering the Nigerian team like I was, that's not why it seems like I'm losing my voice, but that could be part of it. If you also are recording the FIFA show and you don't want to know the scores, you could cover your ear for the next 1 minute. And for those who just watched, I sympathize with you because Croatia just beat up the Nigerian team 2-0. I see the game and I see that the Nigerian guys are trying, but it's a tough group. Not to make excuses, Croatia did exemplary, and the Nigerian team tried. We look for better results, which means that from now on, they got to win all the matches in that group. The next two matches, they must win or else they'll be going home. Also, if you watch the Morocco-Iran game, well, you also know the score that the Moroccan team lost to Iran by a lone goal that they scored on themselves. So the African teams are trying, but none of them are doing better now. But that means the next two games they must win. But if you're enjoying soccer as I am glad that you're joining us and being distracted from the scores if you're Nigerian or African cheering the African teams. So today it's going to be another episode like we always come to you on Saturday, talking about the African issues, especially Nigerian. We are going to eventually get to that, but I want to start with a little bit of news. Since we're talking soccer, I want to start with something that looks like it's a dribble of some sort, because if you've been listening to the news, you hear of the ship floating in the Mediterranean, being pushed between Greece and Italy, and it's full of immigrants that have left Libya, and currently they are being supported by what's this organization that has a boat that's docked out there, that by a not-for-profit organization. And the story is these are people from Libya who got stranded and then were helped by a ship, but none of the countries will get them. First, Italy said, no, move them to Greece. And Greece is saying, well, no, move them to Italy. It seems like there is something workable, but these immigrants are stuck in the middle, not going back to Libya, not getting to where they want to go. Mazio Deluga, any thoughts?
There were no. Of course, that's the challenge for migrants generally across the globe, particularly African migrants. And I think the issue of the Mediterranean Sea now being a grave for African youth is enough to require a global gathering to ask the question, why are they dying on the streets? Why are they dying on the high seas? Why are Africans leaving Africa for Europe? There must be a reason. You know, like the Igbo proverb says, also if you're not
right.
You see, so I'm sick and tired of these so-called global leaders. And the interesting thing, the embarrassing thing is that Macron is meeting with the Turkish ambassador or with the Italian, he met with the Italian president, and they feel that what they need to be able to do is to find ways to stop these Africans from coming. Meanwhile, France is heavily invested in West Africa for sure. Yep. And they have been responsible for part of what is going on in those communities where the youth cannot find employment, and they are trying to find their way to Europe.
So what you're saying is they're hassling them more. That's right. Because what they're doing is right. They are part of the problem.
That's right.
That's forcing these people to leave their communities and seek better opportunities, and then they are pretending to be part of the solution.
They are not even being part of the solution. They are seeing these Africans as a menace. So you already become a nuisance. Meanwhile,
it depends.
All of France oil is out of Africa.
You are a nuisance if you're not doing Spider-Man moves to save save a child falling from a building. If you do that, you get your French citizen. So actually, somebody pointed to that and said, that's I don't know if you know the story I'm talking about the young man who saw a child dangling and about to fall from a building and had to skip many floors, brave move to go save the child, and then was rewarded for his bravery by meeting the president of France. And
you see, those things they use for media play,
propaganda. But somebody was saying, now you see that's the standard for you to get your French. For you to get your French citizens, that's the standard. That's the kind of scale you have to.
No, you have to be at the value. You have to lay down your life.
You have to put your life on the line and have a heroic. I mean, it can't just be any ordinary, normal circumstances.
This is the sad. This is all symptom of the colonialism. This is all coming out of the impact of the Berlin Conference of 1885. What Europe is seeing now is a side effect of actions and decisions that they made from 1885 at Berlin to partition Africa, to use Africa as a trading post, to colonize Africa, and to leave African states in neo-colonialistic postures with leaders who the people cannot hold accountable, but who are accountable to the capitals in Europe. That is what is breeding this migration. It is not conflict. Most of it is not war.
There are conflict, but a lot of it is happening where there are no conflicts.
But even the war,
right?
It's again, you could trace its root back
all the way back to colonial,
all the way back to some place in Europe, because that's where the people who are fighting among themselves are getting weapons
and their supplies. And
there are no major weapon manufacturer in Africa. We've stopped making our bows and arrows.
Well, there is one small place in Abakaliki that makes guns, but they are hunting guns. And the Nigerian government promptly went and destroyed the company anyway.
But my point is, the world, EU, has to step back. We saw this kind of phenomena during the Hitler emergence of Nazism in Germany. There were a group of Jews who felt they had to leave Europe. So they packed up their belongings, all their paintings, all their wealth. They had negotiated with the government of Cuba to come and immigrate to Cuba. So as they got to the shores of Havana, Cuba renegated, changed their mind.
There was a change, right.
And so, of course, they turned to the U.S., and unfortunately, that was at the height of a lot of anti-Semitism within our country.
Right.
And so the president, I think it was Roosevelt at that
refused
FDR at that point. For 2 weeks they were on the high sea, just similar
to what's going on with this.
That's right, because what you have is
it's Doctors Without Borders. That it's the people.
These young people,
yeah,
that are on that ship, and the families, because there are some unaccompanied children.
Yes,
they have been on this journey for years. So this is not like maybe a days. They've been on this journey for years, and of course, some of their travel papers are gone. They've lost so much money. They face great dangers and face a whole lot of abuse. Now, at this point, thank God for the humanitarian organization that have picked them up from drowning in the Mediterranean, because I think the preference for Italy and most of the European government is that these Africans die in the Mediterranean. But fortunately, this humanitarian group have picked them up.
Yep.
The question is, who is going to bail the cat? Now, you want to send them back to Nigeria if some of them are from Nigeria, or throw them to Morocco,
sure there are
from Eritrean, from Yemen, from Somali, or Ethiopia. Fine, good luck. But when you send them back, make sure that you go back to find out how they've been
Make sure you're not sending them to their death.
That's right. Make sure that...
So I know people are listening and are wondering, you're talking about what's happening in the Mediterranean, but there is something similar happening all over the world, including the U.S. Now, for those who are wondering about all the things we're hearing happening in the U.S. with immigration, we will talk about that on Tuesday. Today, we are dedicating to our global and African facing issues, and that's why we're talking about this more. But we hear you, we understand, we will talk about the U.S. and the general sentiments of the whole world on immigration, and the not so, I don't know, I mean, in my opinion, the way that is being responded to and what we think should be the way that this response should be. So, but that's that. So that's the dribble in the Mediterranean with these immigrants that are being helped currently by the Doctors Without Borders, staying on their ship, and hopefully we'll be getting to Italy because I hear a deal is being worked out. But what we are saying is that the real cause that is making them leave their countries should be taken care of, so that these people will not risk their lives getting on the high seas.
That's right.
To try to better.
And I don't mind if it's Italy, if it's EU, if it's France. Somebody has to stand up and call out, okay, if you feel that these African nations, that from where these people are coming from, are not doing are not fulfilling their obligation to their citizens, their issues, call them out.
Right.
Let them pay for the cost.
Or whatever you're
That's
doing.
That's right.
Or
let them pay for the aid.
Too.
And the simplest way you can do it, and I can tell these European countries, there's a very simple way you can get this problem solved. Look through your bank records. If you find money belonging to any of the leaders from any of the countries that these guys come out of, just freeze it. You are at liberty, and I think nobody in Africa will fault you if you take that money and use it to rehabilitate these young people.
Yes.
When we start doing it, you see things change in their home countries.
So this is Straight Talk Radio on WGHC 98.3 FM, and you're listening to Mazi Okeokachuku and Mazi
KK Odeluga.
Our other co-host may be joining us later, but we were discussing the young Africans that are, a lot of Africans that are stuck in a ship between Italy and Greece and being dribbled from one part to the other as they're trying to work out a deal to try to help the migrants, trying to find them rest, or maybe even they may end up going home eventually. But since we're talking about young people and we started talking about FIFA and the World Cup going on in Russia and how the African teams are doing, Nigeria played today, and if you don't want to know the score, then don't listen to me. Close your ears for the next 1 minute. Nigeria lost to Croatia 2-0. I think they tried. I think actually the FIFA games the World Cup has been great. I mean, watching the games, it is high quality, it is high skills, it's a lot of young people. But the other thing to note is that the Nigerian team has the youngest team in the tournament. The youngest team in the tournament is fielded by the African team from Nigeria. The other thing is their jersey has been voted the best ever. Their cultural attire that they wore and their jersey, actually, it is sold out. I hear that some part of it may be because of how Nike did the selling, because Nike didn't start selling their jersey until the 1st of June. But the jersey is sold out, and there's a big back order for it because it's one of the best, I hear. So at least at some point, that kind of says that they've won something, at least for fielding the best jersey in the tournament, also being the youngest. But what I'm getting to is being the youngest. What does that say about the youth of the nation? I mean, are they the youngest because, as the Nigerian president rightly pointed out, there are more than 60% of the population is young. And what does that mean for the future? Because we always say children are the future. What does that mean for the future of the continent and the country itself? As your Delga.
Yes. Anyway, let me start by congratulating them for qualifying for FIFA.
Yeah.
And thank them for years of commitment and dedication and hard work.
Yes.
And I can tell you, if you interview any one of those young people, they will all have their own stories.
Yeah.
Of perseverance, of hard work, of giving of themselves. And interestingly, you will hear little about the government influence or help for them to get to where they are.
Well, I don't know what you're going to say, but I'll interject a little bit, because we know the previous World Cup representatives and what happened. Because usually they go, and then after we hear what happened. Their hotel rooms were not paid. They were feeding out of their pocket. The government did not send money, or they sent money and somebody embezzled it. I mean, it's always some story about what was supposed to happen that didn't happen.
Yes. So first of all, this is the biggest public relations event for Nigeria.
Yes.
Places great Nigeria on a pedestal before the world in a way that you want the story of Nigeria to be told.
Representing not just Nigeria, representing West Africa and representing all of Africa.
All of the black world.
Yes.
So unfortunately, if you dive deep, if you now start digging deep into their individual stories and the stories of their progress, then you start finding a lot of inefficiencies and decay.
Right.
Now, isn't it interesting that they will talk about the jerseys being the best but unfortunately it wasn't designed by a Nigerian.
No, Nike is raking in funds from this.
It wasn't produced by a Nigerian company.
No, it wasn't.
Neither is it being marketed by a Nigerian company.
No, it isn't.
Now, at more than 8 years after independence,
yes,
we should be able to produce our own jersey.
Well, I mean, the FIFA gives the contract out. I give them that. I think the attire they're wearing it's a Nigerian. The one they wore out of the bus that had the it's a redesigned senator that looks like a buttoned-up shirt with a green white on the corners with the hat. I'm going to get that outfit just so that I will take a picture with it, but and then return it promptly.
Yeah.
But I like the design. It's cultural. Actually, the context is well placed.
Yes.
So I know that there is some African influence now. Who designed it and who got the money paid for from it? It's probably I could bet it's very different.
And the story of each of the members of this team,
yes,
in a way does reflect the story of many.
A lot of them are
of
playing
Africa.
in Europe, not in Nigeria.
No, you see, not only that.
Yes.
Is that it shows a continent that is producing one of the best in the world, yet the opportunities are deprived of them
By their government.
by their organized leadership, political structures,
Yep.
which has not been effective. You see, it has to be said over and over again. And I'm no longer ashamed of saying it, that the African leadership, the political systems that we have not been good to the people, have not guaranteed for the general welfare of the people, neither have they guaranteed justice or even protection for life and property.
They've been terrorists to their citizens. They've been the purveyor of violence to their citizens.
And so what you have the African youth do is they have to find opportunities outside of Africa.
Yes, and it didn't start today. I mean, Andrew checked out a long time ago.
No, so football, for example, soccer.
Football, yeah.
When we were growing up, there was a homegrown football.
There were leagues,
high school, elementary school.
And Zeke was famous for saying that he played and he was paid with oranges.
That's right. So but you could see there was a program that saw the emergence of streams of young people, highly talented children who came up the ranks.
Yes.
And at every level, you see very great expertise and proficiency. We had a very dynamic league system.
Yes.
By now, it should be one of the highest earning media income, but not just for local television and arts, but within the sub-region ECOWAS and outside of Africa and beyond the world.
Talent
That's
to
right.
our neck of the woods.
We should have people. Nigerians I'm looking at some of our team members. They're playing in China, for Christ's sake.
Well,
that's
what pays the bill.
No, China is not known as a big soccer country.
Yes.
Some are playing in Turkey.
That's where the money is.
Turkey is not one of the big, soccer countries that, when you name soccer, do you understand?
Yes.
If you're playing in Brazil or in Argentina or Mexico, South America, then you are really in a huge...
Or in the European
leagues or an Italian league. But again, that is the future of Africa. The children are growing up. Once they leave their mother's cradle, it seems like they begin to look beyond Africa.
Yes.
Beyond their homeland.
And that's not a good thing.
And that is not how you raise your youth.
Oh, there's a bigger thing happening, but we will talk about it right after this break. We'll take about a 1-minute break, and we will be right back. Don't go too far.
I am Mazi KK Odeluga.
Mazi Ejikeme Obasi.
Na Mazi Oke Okachuku.
This is Straight Talk Radio, the world as we see.
Coming to you from WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station.
Listen to us this and every Saturday at 4 to 5 p.m. U.S. Central, and this and every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. U.S. Central.
Ndewono.
WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. If you're enjoying the show, you can show it by donating as little as $1 a day. WGHC is a non-profit organization, and your donations are what keep us up and running. It's easy. Just visit our website at www.wghcfm.org. All donations are tax deductible. Visit our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at WGHC 98.3 FM. WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. Follow us at facebook.com/WGHC 98.3 FM to watch all of our live streams. iPhone users can download our WGHC 98.3 FM app in the App Store. All other users can download the TuneIn Radio app or visit tunein.com. You can also listen by phone. Dial 1-563-999-3221. Visit our website at www.wghcfm.org.
Hey, WGHC 98.3 FM would like to help you out. If you have a business or an event you would like to have us advertise for you, then we have some great packages for you to check out. Some of the packages include sponsored events, 30 to 60-second ads, and more. We have advertising space on our shows available starting at $200 and up. Send us an email at 98.3fmwghc@gmail.com to get more info. Also on our Facebook page at WGHC 98.3 FM. Don't forget to follow and like our page. Hey Chicago, your very own African Caribbean station, WGHC 98.3, is asking you to help support us, your favorite station. Help support our mission by donating $1 today on our website, WGHCFM.org, and our Facebook page. Click Donate Now and fill out the form, or call us at 773-942-7167. Your donation is helping us keep our station up and running and impacting our community. We are your voice, your music, your station.
This is WGHC 98.3 FM.
Welcome back to Straight Talk Radio on WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station. We are discussing the youth and in the context of the World Cup going on in Russia, and Nigeria representing the African and black world with the youngest team there is on the field. But before we get to that, I wanted to let you know of a few things happening in the community. So for those in the Chicago area who've lived here for a while, you are all aware of Igbo Fest. So Igbo Fest 2018 is coming on the same time that it usually, the last weekend of July. That means on July 27th, there will be the symposium discussing all things Igbo. And then on the 28th July, Saturday, 28th of July, we will be at Jackson Park for the All Cultural Festival, which will feature all the cultures of Ndibo, including Iwaji, including Iriji, and then cultural dances and cultural shows, and we'll have some great speakers also. So come out and celebrate with us. And then on the Sunday, we will be back at the 26th and Michigan location to give thanks to God with an ecumenical service. So that's Igbo Fest coming up. Also, for those of us with Nigerian passport who are looking to have their passport renewed, well, you're in luck because the Nigerian consulate and embassy officials will be coming to Chicago Thursday 6:28 through Saturday 6:30. And this, if you need help, you could call Adamazi Events. She's helping you get all your papers together, get all your paperwork done. So she's open. Actually, on Thursday, the event will start from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and so will it be on Friday and Saturday. That's June 28, 2018 through Saturday, June 30th, 2018. And the location is the Harris Park, Chicago Park District at the African International House. This is 6200 South Drexel Avenue. It's one block east of the Cottage Grove Avenue on the 62nd Street. If you need help, and you most certainly do, you need to contact Adamazi Events, and it's adamazievents.com. ADAMAZIEVENTS.com. And you could email her at adana@adamazievents.com. You could also call the number 773-443-6516. 773-443-6516. She has an office at the 4554 North Broadway, Suite 318B in Chicago, Illinois. So 4554 North Broadway, Suite 318B, Chicago, Illinois. I will advise that you give her a call first. The number, once again, is 773-443-6516. You could text, it's much faster. But contact Adamazi Events to get your passport taken care of. There are a lot of things to do about, there's a lot of things to know about what do you need to do for your fees, what do you need to do for the passport, if you need to post one, if you need to bring the old one. So do that. But before we took a break, we were talking about the Nigerians representing Africa and the black world in the World Cup. And we started the conversation earlier than that, talking about some immigrants stuck, a lot of them young people stuck between the Mediterranean, being dribbled between Italy and Greece. And then we went to soccer, where there's a real dribbling going on, where Nigeria today played Croatia, and I won't keep telling you the scores. But we started talking about the youth and the stories that come with them, and how Africa hasn't really done much for its youth, and how the Nigerian government and most of African leaders have been listening to their colonial masters, trying to replace them rather than play to its citizens. So, Mazio Deluga.
Yeah, I mean, you could almost say that the welfare of the youth of Africa should be used as a barometer or as a thermometer to check to evaluate the efficiency and the performance,
the effectiveness
of African government.
So some people are listening to us, and there will be elections in 2019 in Nigeria.
It should be all about youth. I mean, in the days of the Bill Clinton election, the chairman
stupid.
Is the economy stupid?
Yes.
So this is is the youth welfare stupid?
Yes.
I mean, this is all it should be about. There is nobody should come talking to you, and if you're listening to me, and when the politicians come, they shouldn't be talking to you about roads and bridges, because that's not what feeds you.
Yes.
What they should be talking to you about is how do they increase the opportunities for you to participate in a global village.
It's insanity to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
The point is that
the politicians have been talking about the infrastructure, electrification, rural roads, the water, They've been talking about that for ages.
They'll build this. What you need, what the youth in Africa need,
Yes.
and I speak specifically to Nigeria and especially Southeast and Igbo.
Yes.
Education.
Yes.
Education.
Yes.
Education. Good education. I just want to be expo. I don't know education and expo and relevant education. You see, there's no need us having thousands of schools.
Yes.
And those schools, and their children go through elementary school, go to secondary school,
Yes.
and get to college, and they're barely familiar with the computer. So meanwhile, my 5-year-old at the
Yes,
kindergarten
right.
is already being taught about the use of iPads for.
I don't even know. I don't know if they come out of the womb doing that, because my kids pick it up and I'm not teaching them anything. They must be learning it in school, but it's a shame what you're saying, that people will go through university level and know how to program in the whatever the most recent programming language is, and they've never seen a computer or touched it.
They've not done something. So education will be key.
Yes.
2 is jobs.
Yes.
Because you are better off thriving in your locale. Forget about those of us who have been trapped in the U.S. And I say trapped. And I use that word carefully.
I said exiled before, and somebody was unhappy with me.
But that's, you see, Adamama.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
You see, so like I tell people around me at my job, I say, I'm living below my standards. And so some of them look at me and say, why, how can you say...
Talk about a standard. An uncle of mine, in the days that Nigerians could still participate in the visa lottery, which they're working to stop, an uncle of mine got that, he won that, and he decided to come out and check it out before he brought his family here. So he comes and he checks it out, and when he got here, he's like, okay, so what do I do next? Well, you got to get a job, you got to do this, and what kind of job? Well, to start, you got to take whatever job that is available, and eventually you get the one that you participate, that you have your degree and everything in. And this guy stood around for 2 weeks, tried the whole thing, and said, no. I am going back to Nigeria. In Nigeria, I have a car, but I don't drive it because I have drivers, I have cooks, I have people living with me. When I walk in, they open the gate for me and say, well, why would I leave that kind of lifestyle and come here and start working at McDonald's first?
No, not only that, and see, so that's what I say.
And the temperature is almost always set to 72, because that's the equatorial region. We live 4 degrees east, 4 degrees north of the equator. Why would you want to come here and suffer winter?
Now, the point is, there are opportunities, no doubt.
Yes.
There are opportunities in the West that is not available in Africa.
That's correct.
But you can be well educated, holistically educated, and culturally sound. And that is one of the things that I think we are missing out. A lot of our young people think that imbibing Western values is the way to go. No. The strength, the reason why you see John Michael Obi,
yes,
doing well in Europe is because of values that he carried with him as Onyibo.
Oh, yes.
Because those values, Ada Mama, will get you further than most of the things he drop pant. Oh,
yes.
You see, those kinds of things that I see, like when I go back to Nigeria and I see young people trying to sag their pants. Do you know that the people who rule in this country, people whose families who have their heads together, don't sag their pants.
They don't do any of that.
So then you see high school
nothing
kids.
To be gained doing that.
You see high school kids, and I walk like no wonder. Unu na gazeto and docha unu baboon.
Yeah.
You gotta go. So, but those values, don't abandon your values. This overwhelming desire to get out of the country, actually, you should begin to tamp it down. Because
you can't tamp it down if there is nothing to help you do that. The reason people are leaving.
But some people have suspended the idea. They are consumed by this notion that
the only way. The only way.
Oman Sefele na Nigeria.
No.
But once he leaves and goes to Cameroon, then he can take a job as a dishwasher.
You're going too far. So there are people in the eastern part of Nigeria, right, who will not stoop to that level of cutting grass, washing dishes, or anything. But then they leave to Lagos. And in Lagos, what is the guy doing?
He's living under the bridge.
Okay. But he's doing any odd job just so that he could go back and say, I'm living in Lagos.
No, I had this conversation with a young man. I told him, I said, thank God you're back in the village. Because you see, when a young man returns back to the village, everybody thinks, oh, no, where I will go?
No.
Oh, no, this is the end of your life. Oh, you return back to the village.
That's the beginning of wisdom.
That is, because I told him, I said, do you know what you've done for yourself? Having moved from Port Harcourt.
You just grounded yourself.
You were trading in gas. I told him, gas. First of all, when there's scarcity of gas, you have no deal.
Yep.
How can you get into a business where the supply?
And he's probably he's not the broker at the top end.
He's not the broker at the end. He's the guy selling the cylinders. I said, first of all, that is not even a wise thing.
And it's very dangerous.
But anyway, thank God that you came back to the village. And in fact, the blessing is that you came back with a bike. I said, well, hey, Kita, where Baba Okada? It's in a village. You get to the next town, to the marketplace. By the time you do it, at least for the next 6 months, you get enough resources because now you're living in your father's compound for free. You're not paying rent. And your kids are going to the local schools.
Yes.
You can invest in when they come home with a lesson from one of the local teachers. And then now your wife will grow some vegetables and you can plant some
money on
and then so you have your yam and your cassava farm because and then if you're very enterprising, I said, look at one of my nephews have put out a small poultry farm and he's doing well. Yes. So you can have a few birds. You know what he told me, that this is
village life.
That what I'm talking about is not possible. That he wants me to give him money for him to start a new business.
Yes.
And again, one of those businesses that is a rare commodity, Kilebe caterpillar parts. Again, how many caterpillars
who is
are
buying
in Nigeria?
Caterpillar parts? So how many of them are you going to sell in a day?
So as you talk about the government responsibility,
you have to have
we also have to make sure that we emphasize
educate
for the young people. You see, when we were in school, we understood one thing.
Yeah.
That we're there to prepare for a future in the world.
Yeah.
And as we saw things shift and change, if anybody told me that I would be found in the U.S. at this time, I wouldn't know. Because as we were coming up, they were very, we had life relatively easy.
Yes.
But we had our issues and we had our complaint. But we weren't engaged in thuggery. Don't get involved in political thuggery.
That's somebody paying you to mortgage your future.
Right. So we never got involved in that. What we were was the conscience of the community. So you will know that when the military, the only opposition group to the military outside of the unions, were the university students.
Yes.
And so we were willing to take on the government in anything they do that we feel that was detrimental to our progress.
And I think that's one of the things that's missing, because these youths are not protesting enough when their future is being mortgaged right in front of them.
Yes.
Nobody's trying to claim it. I saw one big protest I forgot what governor it was, and they moved all the way to the stadium. The governor came, made a big speech, conceded nothing. But the kids, as soon as he started, some of the kids challenged him, but right after that, then what? They all dispersed and went home because they got their TV time, and the governor made a speech, and they called it a win.
Yeah, because there is enough of your numbers to actually shift the political discourse. In generations past, Ada Mama, Mbono Ojike was 30. Nwaforis was in his late 20s when he became the Speaker of the House. So I like the movement, not too young to run.
Yes.
Because I would love to see some college some of the college, people in colleges run.
Well, you're talking about Mbono Ojike, Buhari,
yes,
Gowon,
yes,
Obasanjo, Ojukwu,
yes,
Danjuma.
Yes.
All these people were in their 20s.
Yes.
When they started, when they actually came to the national scene.
That's right.
The problem I have is they're in their 70s and they're still there.
So part of the issue is that they keep saying, oh, but we don't see the youth of nowadays. No, it's not about the youth of nowadays. Clear out. Because the point is, a lot of these guys, we are not even seeing their children, tracking them. So it's not like, they're grooming their own kids.
Their kids are out of the country. So they've made the country ungovernable, uncomfortable, on whatever else you could put in there that ends with able. They've done that to the country and have sent their kids outside where they are much more comfortable, where they're taking off the on in front of the able. And so they don't understand about your kids, about everybody else's kids that is growing up in that country, because what they're doing is they take their kids outside the country, they get them educated, and then they grandfather them into the system. They make room for them, but not for yours. So they're not training yours. They're not providing education for them. They're not providing employment. They're putting all the money in their pockets only for them and their family.
Yeah.
And then they'll come and pay you, and you stand out in the hot sun and challenge whoever their political opponent is and carry water for them, only to end up exactly where you were before, or even worse.
So if I may advise you,
yes,
get your PVC. If you love public service,
get into a political party.
Register
or start one,
and get involved.
Yep.
Don't allow yourself to be seen as a tout.
Yep.
Campaign.
Don't allow yourself to be used by other people for their own machinations.
You should be part of the intellectual power of every campaign you're part of, which means strategy, Gigi. Organize other people, organize votes.
Yes.
And let people know that you
should be making the shots or calling the shots, or be part of the people they go to.
That's right.
So that you could be voted for.
Because you could tell them how you can turn out votes through your Facebook page or through Twitter or Instagram. You should be there actively participating.
Through your soccer club.
Participating in the political process. And be clear what the issues are.
Yes.
The idea of, then you take some little money from them, maybe eat for a while, and then the guy takes your whole future and the future of your children and throws it out the window. Don't allow that to happen to you. Now, be one of those people that will tell the candidates what they need to do to better the life of the youth, to regrow the community, to make sure that there are opportunities for every generation, which means that the Igbo will stop dying from migration. So people will start coming back to Igbo because of the activities that they have to begin to put in place.
But to be able to articulate those kind of points, to be able to actually make that comment or have that speech ready, you have to do some work. You have to do some studying. You have to understand the community you live in, what is required in the community, be involved in it so that you actually have been able to try out some of your ideas or at least passed it around and discussed it so that when a politician shows up for a campaign, you could ask the relevant questions, but also be able to offer your own counter views, because just because you're part of a political party don't mean that your party or that you are going to win. What that means is you could also be able to influence others running so that they take your ideas even if they win and you don't. And that way you are able to have a dialogue that even if they didn't win and you win, you may be influenced to do the things that work.
Yeah. And the other thing is, let me address the natural leaders that have emerged in this time, which is a lot of the young people that are involved in the pro-Biafra movement.
Right.
One thing that I can give to them, is that they are quite committed, they are dedicated, they believe.
There is action, not just words.
No, they believe in what they are fighting for.
Yes.
The idea of self-determination. And what is, many people in my generation have come up and say, but these kids, they didn't see the war, It is true. Most of them are our children. Those of us who survived the Biafra program, the genocide of the Biafra war. Now, those of us who survived the hunger and the starvation and the various bombings and in the civilian area. So we were told not to talk about this. But the children picked it up. The generation behind us picked it up and recognized what it was. Injustice continually being perpetuated, especially when they saw many of us check out. Because whether you like it or not, we were all forced out of Nigeria.
Exiled.
Because of the policies of all the class of 66, the military regime, one after the other, that burnt out and destroyed every opportunity that was available to our generations, to the youth of our generation. Mm-hmm. So they saw a big swath of people all of a sudden disappear. Yep. And unfortunately, what that did was create a vacuum of no mentors. And the only people that they saw coming up were the 419s and the Yahoo boys. And then, of course, no team with politics.
Well, and there were some well-meaning people who stayed behind that couldn't go, but what they were telling other people is, well, I couldn't go, but you should be able to.
So, you see, so then there was no, because why I'm saying this is, I remember I spoke to some of my younger cousins who said, oh, uncle, we need you, they'll call you uncle, but they're my cousins. They say, we need you to help us come to America. And I'm like...
Or your brothers, depending on what side of the family.
I said, please, if you want to come to America, these are the things you need to do. But if you can succeed here...
It's much better
It's much better for you. Because it is harder and more difficult to be able to succeed.
Once you get disconnected, to connect back is harder.
And so, but then they ask you the question, but you're there. Why are you discouraging me from getting there? I said, if wishes were horses,
yes,
I will ask every youth to take a vacation, come here for a month.
I say that as
check
often
it
as
out.
possible.
If you like it, stay.
Yes.
You will find out that 80% of the people will run back to Nigeria. Why? Because they will find out that this is not.
It's not the same thing, right?
No.
So
I like the idea that their political consciousness have risen to the point of recognizing Ifene.
Yes.
Is this idea that we are not able to control our destiny. Yes. So they've listened to Nnamdi Kanu and they've rallied around Masop. They've rallied around every pro-Biafra movement. What I'm asking them to do now is to take a step back. Because Nifa Habron Zobu.
No.
Because
now bunu more than Zobu.
It is bunu. It's a bunu situation. It is a bunu situation. Bunu meaning
it's a communal effort.
Everybody has to put their shoulder to the plow.
Yes.
And that means we have to do this with some tact.
Yes.
and skill. Ya bụ akọ na uche no ile ọma ka ejire ji aga n'ogwu. O nwekwa ndị na-eme mkpọtụ but no a na-eme mkpọtụ a na-egwunye ji maka ada agba aka azụ ana.
No.
So my point being,
kwasịrị ụmụ ya onye tụrụ ji ya tụrụ kwa mgbọgwụrụ maka ụbọchị onye
because okay unu n'anya na ife jikwa ife na-etili mgbede egwu dị n'ana.
Yes.
Now the people who we are wrestling with, it's not by their own, they're not the only people in the arena.
Bible says against flesh and blood.
It's not against flesh and blood.
And every Nigerian understands.
No, so upon nke mojo, yes. I say I will all Jesus say, well Jesus say.
They've been shouting blood of Jesus, fire from heaven, and all those things for a while.
That itself is a different situation.
Yes.
This is where the London branch, the Paris branch, the United Nations, and everybody involved,
bunu.
It's a bunu,
yes.
Which means we have to begin to find innovative ways to do it better.
Cooperatively.
To do it better. And part of what we need to demonstrate, especially for your generation, those of you who are out there as IPOB, out there as Masab, or any of the other pro-Biafra groups, what I'm telling you is now get into the political process. Forget about the Constitution. I know some people will say, oh, we don't want the Constitution, say a nullifier. Until they nullify that.
That's what you got.
Until they do that. They now fight LNC, now fight for nullify the Constitution.
Continue your work.
Yes. But now my point is now mweji.
Koja naka.
Akara nwai. Kona atukwasi dia. Eba aka lulonye. Kona ekoba abia.
Yep.
So what we need to do is with what we have.
Yes.
And what we have now is 2019 election. Until that election is cancelled,
yes,
let's prepare to have candidates in the polls
that you're going to be proud to vote for.
That you will support because they agree with your political philosophy. First of all, which means Igbo Gadi, one.
Yes.
Two, they believe that in the right of Ndibo to self-determination.
Yes.
Which means they will support the idea ultimately, if need be, for Ndibo.
A true federalism at first, or eventually. Okay.
So it has to be that. So you create a political force so that every state assemblyman, mana mbobu eji babankata, or lieutenant state assembly,
yep.
Which is they're saying the same thing. You got to go. Now, mother had no be a megane, no people even declare. Now, okay, Nukuji, now Kalendruli.
Yes.
That no coach emery vote below coach. So we are now saying, let us be the people who will take responsibility for our destiny. And the only way you can do that is through the political process for now.
While you're searching for your PVC paper, I want to remind you that this is WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. We will be back after 1 minute of break. So continue to listen to this station, don't turn off, and we'll be right back.
I am Mazi KK Odeluga.
Mazi Ejikeme Obasi.
Na Mazi Oke Okachuku.
This is Straight Talk Radio, the world as we see.
Coming to you from WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station.
Listen to us this and every Saturday at 4 to 5 p.m. U.S. Central, and this and every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. U.S. Central.
Ndewono.
Hey, WGHC 98.3 FM would like to help you out. If you have a business or an event you would like to have us advertise for you, then we have some great packages for you to check out. Some of the packages include sponsored events, 30 to 60-second ads, and more. We have advertising space on our shows available starting at $200 and up. Send us an email at 98.3fmwghc@gmail.com to get more info. Also on our Facebook page at WGHC 98.3 FM. Don't forget to follow and like our page.
WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. If you're enjoying the show, you can show it by donating as little as $1 a day. WGHC is a non-profit organization, and your donations are what keep us up and running. It's easy. Just visit our website at www.wghcfm.org. All donations are tax deductible. Visit our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at WGHC 98.3 FM. WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. Follow us at facebook.com/WGHC 98.3 FM to watch all of our live streams. iPhone users can download our WGHC 98.3 FM app in the App Store. All other users can download the TuneIn Radio app or visit tunein.com. You can also listen by phone. Dial 1-563-999-3221. Visit our website at www.wghcfm.org.
This is WGHC 98.3 FM.
Welcome back to Straight Talk Radio on WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. I want to remind you that this is a community radio station. This is your Afro-Caribbean radio station in the uptown area of Chicago. If you are in the uptown area or close to it, you could turn to the dial 98.3 FM. That's where you could hear us all day, all the time. But if you're not, make sure you download the TuneIn Radio app from your Android store or from your Windows store to continue to listen to us wherever you are all over the world. Same thing if you have an Apple equipment, iOS, you could download the WGHC 98.3 FM app so that you could listen to us all the time. We play wonderful Afro-Caribbean music and other music taste also. But also we have other programs similar to this one that brings you the flavor from Africa and from Caribbean world all through the day. Today on Straight Talk Radio, we're discussing the youth, especially with World Cup soccer in the background and Nigeria fielding the youngest team. And we've been talking about what the responsibilities of the youth are in Africa, especially in Nigeria, so that we will curtail some of these migration, not because that migration is terrible or bad, but because we think we could build an Africa that has the best opportunities that people will stop raping and taking advantage of if the youth commit to it. Waiting for the older people and waiting for the people in power to do it will not get it done. We know the youth could do it because that has always been the lifeblood of a community. So, Mazio Delega, you were saying?
Yes, and that is something that another thing that I want to bring up is that in a prior generations you saw an older generation that cheered on their youth.
Yes.
Now, when Buhari went to...
When he had the opportunity.
When he went
in
London
yes,
and said that the Nigerian youth are lazy and want anything...
I want to give him some credit. He started off good by saying how Nigeria is dominated by the youth in the population count and numbers.
No, he was
and
just...
then he went downhill from there.
Yes. So now, that to me, as I've ruminated on that statement...
Yes.
I think he was articulating a generational sentiment.
A divide from that.
For what used to be. So the class of 66 says, which is this baby boomer generation.
Yes.
They see life different.
Yes.
From the Depression generation, the colonial generation, the generation that fought the British.
They got the baton from the British.
Think about it. Our grandfathers made sure they worked hard. When they saw things tilt and change,
they asked the British
when they
to
saw
leave.
the land change, the landscape change. When they saw the Europeans take over their lives, one of the things they did strategically was they didn't run away from some of the European ways.
Yes.
Is education? This is the way? They saw that as the way.
They learned
They
new
pushed
skills. Yep.
their children. They learned the most they could. Some of them couldn't go beyond, just
standard 6 or whatever.
They didn't. Some of them didn't even bother. But one of the things they did was they were able to transitioned quickly from an agrarian economy to a mercantile economy.
Yes.
By not only producing cash crops, but also they had control to sell them, made money. And so they moved from a cash-led economy to a cash economy that actually was a global economy involving the pound sterling and trading.
They joined the rest of the world in the century they found themselves.
That's right. But their children, they made sure that they went to school.
That they prepared them for what was coming.
They prepared them. They were the generation that kicked out the oppressor. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So communities that couldn't, if families couldn't do it, communities got together and sent one person.
Yes.
Sent two. Sent three.
Yes.
Organizations sent one. Sent two. Those people came. It became a snowball. They began to encourage. Communities contributed money, built those elementary schools.
Yes.
It's a one building. No, one end is elementary 1.
And the other part is teachers training.
The other end is elementary 6.
Yes.
So you see one class each in between. And so that was how the community schools, some didn't take and all under the tree.
Yes.
But those things were what then began to produce a new class of elites who were then able to lead the independence movement.
Yep.
That's why you in their 30s, you found Mbono Ojika already making waves.
Yep.
You saw people like my dad who had by 28 he was already finished his master's working in the United Nations. So you saw people in that generation coming up. So Akani Ibiam was a different story.
Yep.
But M.I. Okpara graduated quite early, got into public service early. Zeke got in early. So what did they do? They were the ones who built the groundswell. And they made sure that the generation behind them were also prepared. But what you've seen since the class of 66 came in from the 1970s
destroyed.
is destruction of every strata. There is no political process. It used to be that our leaders were groomed in universities. The student union movement was where we trained our potential leaders. The student union president of any university,
usually,
in my time,
yep,
you more or less could see that person as a public servant coming out. They were the ones who went to youth service corps and did other things, within the government.
Yep.
But now, you don't see that. So, of course, what happened in that vacuum was you saw the emergence
of got filled with something else.
Cults and all kinds of gangs
they took
and all
the fraternity. So when I was coming up, my last year in high school, I had a quarrel with a student in school. I call it a quarrel because I was a school functionary, and part of my job was to make sure that students did what they were supposed to do. Show up to assembly on time. I mean, if you didn't, we punished you by making you kneel down.
That's right.
And feel the pain.
Imagine how old you were, and you were already providing leadership to your peers.
Well, that happened, and this guy who knew me, because we grew up in the same neighborhood in Enugu, and we went to a father school. I punished him, and he didn't take it too well.
Yes.
Because he knew people who were in fraternities. Well, I had no idea what that meant. But, so I was at a Children's Day celebration at Bara Square in Enugu. I'm being confronted by people who call themselves buccaneers, showing me their axe and their daggers and things. I'm thinking, how did I become this important that a whole small me is being challenged by tall guys in a car, and they were calling me to cross over the road? And of course, I am stubborn. When I get afraid, I become. When my back is against the wall, I become the most stupid, irrational person you ever know. Showing me all these things did not deter me because I was afraid, and being afraid, I challenged. I'm like, not crossing the road. You want to talk to me? You cross the road. And they crossed the road and came and told me that I should never talk to the guy, don't punish him, he could do whatever. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, if he shows up again to assembly late when I'm on duty, he is going to get doubly punished, so go tell him that. But that's just stupid, afraid talking, but it's the way also I am. So if you see me getting in trouble, pull me back. Well, the story, why I'm telling this story is, fraternities, I didn't understand what that was. That was my introduction to fraternity. So I really, really hated whatever was fraternity until I came to the U.S. And then I saw the Greek organizations, and I saw them, in school, doing charitable works, doing other things, and putting on shows. I'm thinking, oh my God, that's what they corrupted in Nigeria? That's what they are using daggers and axes and stuff and trying to beat people up for?
Yes. I was in school when the transition happened.
Yes.
Because, yes, like you, when I came in, I'm a member of Beta Sigma fraternity. And
at least he had a Greek sound.
as a Sigmite,
yes.
you had a code of conduct.
Yes.
You appeared at all times on campus with your brooch, which meant people knew you.
Yes, it stood for something, honor and
so you stood for excellence.
And fraternity.
You stood for excellence.
Yes.
You stood for national service.
Yes.
You stood for sharing the best of yourself with everybody.
Not taking daggers and axes and weapons and scaring other people.
Some of what then began to destroy that spirit. Then there was what I saw healthy competition among the university fraternities or social organizations was who is going to be considered the best. And of course, for the most of the organizations with the boys, who are mainly guys, then you got to have the other side. You have to be able to be seen to be the cool people, the right people, the well-behaved that the ladies will follow.
Flock to,
okay,
right.
so when we have our parties, who
threw the best party
who threw the best, and
the best girls
who
to show up.
attracted
Yes.
the crop of the ladies on campus? Then all
that
of
you
us
want to take home to mama, not just anybody.
Then all of a sudden, we saw, and nothing against the polytechnics.
Gang life. Polytechnics decided to get
nothing against the new arts and science schools,
yes.
the 2-year colleges.
Yes.
Some of the
they wanted
OND,
to get a piece of the action.
They went over to Ife and began to become Kegites. You know how Kegites are?
No.
Oh, Palm Wine Drinkers Club.
Oh, keg. Got it.
So the Kegites now appeared on campus.
Yes.
Having all their nights, what do they call it? Rackles.
They Kegites, which means they're probably already drunk. They're already drunk.
It was called Palm Wine Drinkers Club. Interestingly,
yes.
He came out of Ife.
They just wanted their own fraternity, I guess.
No, he came out of Ife, and he was, I think, put together by Choinka. But the Kegites would spend the night drinking palm wine, playing
already under the influence. Under strong influence.
Beating the drums,
yes.
And singing like you normally sing, like in the village square.
Yes, yes.
So that, of course, destroyed
influenced
any kind of. Then, of course,
everybody started copying the wrong thing.
So then, prior to that, for example, at Nsukka where I went to,
yes,
it was called Generations. They do Generations. So from weekend to weekend,
Gyrations. Owambe. Oh, that's where that came out of.
That's right.
Got it.
Then the other thing that happened was, of course, at UNN, the Pirates.
Another name.
Were banned.
Yes.
But then all of a sudden there was a resurgence of the Pirates.
So they took part of the gang things from the other.
No, it wasn't. You see, the Pirates had their history, I think, back in the days with, again, Soinka.
Okay.
It was a resistant group to the colonial things that were going on campus. So that was one of the ways that the radicals at that time
expressed.
So the Pirates were supposed to be, they fought injustice on campus.
Yes.
So of course they had a different initiation process.
Yes.
While others will have a little swearing in
and candles and all that stuff.
So then these guys will beat people up. To be able to initiate it. So
you gotta show that you're powerful.
So you see a guy all bruised up and bandaged up, and then everybody said that he went through initiation last night.
Uh-huh.
So they were the buccaneers that will come out to threaten people. So they began to use force. You know, we grew up.
He went off campus.
No, we grew up trying to play nice so that at least if you say hello,
that the girls will
hello, young lady, she will say, oh yes.
These people will rather club them over the head and drag them into the
say
cage.
that hey, if you're the Buccaneer chief, that you are requesting for her to show up.
If you don't show up, we're gonna club you on the head and drag you into the cage.
So, but anyway,
yes,
that is an interesting.
Yes.
Because that was actually what began to destroy
the corruption
and corrupt
the
role of the youth.
Yes.
Within our culture. And if you just oppose it with the fact that not many of our people, of our young people, are now involved in the age grade.
So they
in the village age grade system.
Right.
So you see that there was no place anymore.
So that took over. A vacuum cannot exist.
For the formation of character.
Right.
It couldn't happen at the university. It wasn't happening at the community level in the villages. So what did you see? A bunch of young people who felt that everybody owed them something. For example, I mean, how dare you, in the days that we went to boarding school, challenge a prefect or even threaten physical harm? In fact, the fact that the guy had some people confront you at Enugu, we know what is going to end him. 1 week with a cutlass.
Oh yeah.
And of course, you know how many fields that he will clear.
His hand will be blistered by the time he's done.
And then that matter will go before the principal, and then the principal will invite the parents.
Be on record.
And at the threat of him being expelled from the school, the father will flog him and whoop him in front of the school.
Yes.
In order to.
That was in the good old days.
That's right. But you could see how the youth began to get to the place where they are.
I understand right now that, I know that corporal punishment, that time has come and passed, but I understand right now that if you punish, and I don't mean corporally punish, if you punish a student in school, be it elementary or high school, you have to answer to the parents' lawyers now. If they have lawyers. If not, the parents may have to actually be the ones waiting for you at your home to beat you up by the time you come home.
So that's why we have indiscipline.
Yeah.
And so you have, at 30, this is the other thing that we have to speak to. It is very absurd what I see, especially among Ndibo. Okay, no. Hey, man, at 30, he's still sitting around. Parents are giving him pocket money. Drive an Ebugalia.
No.
He's still being dropped off at interviews.
No.
He can't find his feet.
No, you're not doing him any favors. You are setting him up for it's failure to lunch only because you are preventing him to lunch.
That's right. So one of the things that we have done so wrongly is to invest so much in so-called but the guy is
if
no
only
good.
They will allow him to go to the alcohol, because whoever has struggled, then somebody will pay somebody to go take the exam for
to
him.
sort him out.
Yes.
Then they keep pushing him around. Then the guy is now solely dependent on the parents' wealth, especially this is happening middle class.
Yeah.
Because the kids who cannot help themselves, who are scraping to go to school, have learned how to back job.
Life has taught you the way to.
Yes. Like I met a young lady, that's what she does to make money to pay for her school fees. Because she told me clearly, and I was really heartbroken by that a few times she's tried to find a job, maybe working as an administrative assistant or as a secretary or sales girls. And so the bosses, which are usually these guys that I'm wondering, always asking for sexual favors from these girls for prerequisite to be hired. Sexual harassment.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
Yes.
And so the girls will now run away. Then we go about complaining, I must go to but half of the people who are destroying and defend maybe so you got to go?
Yep.
Uncle one near Fianesi gain a lift up what hotel. Another married man, another grown man who may have been her father, is the one who is responsible. So this girl chose that the best thing she could do, but on Natazia village, on our own.
Yep.
We encouraged her, you know. So there are quite a good number of young Igbo youth that are actually doing well. The young man that came to wash my blinds for me was in college. I was impressed. He says, I'm an electrician also. I go out, do the work, but I also go to the Open University, so I have classes 3 times a week.
And he's making money to support his
the other
education.
one, that's right. The other one is a laundry, so he's hustling. I know a young man that sold used cars all through his university to pay for his school.
I know 2 guys, actually, independently, they told me the same story.
Yes.
The guy actually bought a motorbike that he used to ride himself to make money.
Yes.
But going to college, he gave it to somebody. So he's an employer. He employed somebody to actually use the bike.
Yes.
And give him a prescribed amount every month.
Yes.
That's how he pays the tuition. Another person told me exactly the same story. He has about 3 keke out there with drivers on them that he collects money from. And I mean, why he told me the story is because they always tell him stories about how he's broken up.
Yes.
But at least he gets not as much as he thinks he should be getting, but he has about 3 of them. So if one is broken down, he gets the money from the other 2 and fixes one and gives it to somebody else. So
those things were things that we didn't do in our generation.
No.
So I have great hope and faith in this generation that because of their experience is uniquely different, and I believe prepare them for the future to face a global community. But what I am encouraging them to do is not allow themselves to be dragged or used. You know, you don't have to commit suicide to succeed. No. This idea of, I must try. There is no easy way to make money.
It's not worth it. Right.
You pay, you gradually. Yes. And the only question,
yes.
That is the Igbo that we know.
Yes.
That is the Igbo that will continue to move forward. That the Igbo that understands that his role in life is to solve problems. Do you understand?
Yes.
So in our time, just to let you know that what these people are telling us now is way different from when we were growing up. In our time, it was already bad. But at least during the long vacation, do you know what happened? The government gave us a back job. You went to I remember a few times I was volunteering, literally volunteering at the dental center at Onitsha. And of course, you know, you showed up, you assisted the dentist do 1 or 2 things there. You're really not doing any much. At the end of the month, you got 200 naira. 200 naira.
Yes. That's when you could actually get more dollars with the naira.
No. You bought a Volkswagen Beetle then with maybe close to 1,000 naira. We didn't buy Beetles then because, of course, you as a student...
You were saving for the big thing.
As a student, if you bought a Beetle, your father would kill you. Because, first of all, he knew how long he struggled before he could buy his first motorcycle.
And there is no use for it. You don't need the Beetle.
You don't need the Beetle.
Yes.
But some young men, some of guys bought used vehicle.
Yes.
But, of course, what you would then hear at the beginning of the semester... If you're going from one across on the hallway, you hear either a Kenwood, a Sanyo, or a JVC blaring
some stereo.
Because people are, you bought a turntable,
yes,
a double deck, triple decker, a turntable,
yes,
a tape, an amp, and of course
the good things of life.
Yes,
highlight.
That's right. You bought your speakers.
Yes.
So in Akwazie Gwetu and Narok,
Amane Elande.
We also had bursary.
Yes.
Some people had scholarship.
Yes.
Few federal scholarships by merit, but the state will issue some blanket. But that was when things supposedly was good. So we saw that for the 2 years that we were in college.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that things are easy for this generation.
Well, it's good that you mentioned that there was a time when things were way better than it is now. Yes. Because it's hard to imagine for some people because they never saw it.
Yes.
For me, I mean, I saw, well, some of my brothers are way older than me. So I saw brothers go to college and the college life. I also saw uncles who went to college, and people who graduated and got a job, and people who graduated and was given a car or something from a car note from the bank, and they got a brand new car and all that stuff.
At the university, you went to the cafeteria and you got your food, you sat down, there was cutlery, you had, in fact,
actually boarding school used to be like that, where you're taught the manner of what to use, when to use the cutlery and all that stuff.
After eating, you had dessert. And I say, because last year and a big chicken or half chicken.
By the time I got to senior secondary, by the time I got to high school, I don't think there was any more dessert.
No.
Actually, if you stay a minute longer, nigga for na cafeteria.
No. Secondary school was a zoo. But I'm talking about the campus. Okay.
Yes.
So you had chicken, you had all that. We had maid services that at every day somebody came, swept your room, cleaned it up, cleaned the bathroom and the restroom, left you towels and then soap and then tissue paper every week.
So the young people listening in Nigeria, what we're saying is you could get this back and even better. You could make life this better for the people behind you, for your children.
All leadership.
Yes.
All leadership. These infrastructures were there. Although we at some point we had more, because now we're admitting more people. So I like the open campus system, where people can live in town.
It's an alternative, which is fine.
If you want to be on campus,
options
you're on
are
campus.
great. Yes.
But what being on campus did was
even then, when there were no open campuses, I remember there were correspondence colleges.
Yes.
So people didn't always have to. I knew people who were studying from London.
Rapid
having
result.
correspondence from London and UK and. Well,
but those people were working,
yes,
and then going to school. But I mean, for a generation that actually went to school as professional students, that's what I called it.
Yes.
Because that was one of the most embarrassing things that I experienced. A culture shock when I got to the U.S. to find out that my colleagues were actually
working at the same
the ones
time.
who paid their way through, and I'm like, what?
Imagine my surprise. Even I was surprised when I got here and realized that you gotta work to make the money to pay for your tuition. You just don't sit down and somebody pays for it.
So most of us were even fussing with our parents for the pocket money they gave you.
Yes.
And we were threatening to, if you didn't give me enough, maybe I won't go back.
Go provision.
No. My colleagues here paid their way through school.
Yes.
So what that did was
inspire you to do the same.
He made sure he applied himself, because he does not have the money to stay for 8 years when he was supposed to graduate in 6.
Yep.
So be that as it may, that is a new time that we're in. We may not be able to recapture that time,
the old feeling,
because again, the number of people that have been trained in the universities are real high.
Yes.
One of the things that the government has to address, and that's something that the young people have to put on the ballot, is this idea of the relevance of the curriculum for jobs. See, people cannot just go to get degrees anymore.
Yes.
You see, it worked 30, 40 years ago.
If you walk into a college and think you're just going to get your degree and come out and get a job, your plan is incomplete.
Yes.
You have to get in and say, this is what I'm going there to do. Or when I come out, this is what I'm going to do with whatever degree or whatever I learn. I'm going to employ this much people, or even if I can't employ this much people, this is the opportunity I'm trying to focus on.
That's right.
If you don't have that in your head going in, that's fine. But before you come out, you should have that answer.
I'm glad you said that, because what used to be that our education policy was for one purpose. The aim of the British style education was
to be civil service for the British.
To build up create an elite class to be able to be employed in the civil service or by the multinationals. So
yes,
then
master.
You come out, you become a middle level manager with a college degree.
Yes.
At that time, the whole faculty, let's say new campus on Nsukka, will be maybe 500 to 1,000 undergraduates.
Yes.
Now, 1,000 is actually one department now.
Yes.
And that's not just one university.
With multiple now. I mean, our population is exploding.
So my medical class was, we admitted 120, we graduated 108. Now, you have every average medical class is about 300.
Actually, not everybody who wants to get into that is because of the cutoff and because of the other plays that go on.
Yes,
A lot of people are left out.
And so that time you had how many medical schools? Maybe 5, 6. Now, in one state, in one region, you have maybe 10 medical schools.
We should be a great place for medical tourism instead of having our people leave to go someplace else.
So my point being, education should be functional.
Yes.
People should look more towards entrepreneurship, creating your own opportunities once you come out, and that should be reflected in the curriculum
and
the design.
Have it. Yes.
Yeah. So it's no longer going to be garbage in, garbage out. The professor vomits out some textbooks or whatever.
Yes.
But they should be able to prepare you.
Okay, all those things. It's good to read them, but you have to.
You have to apply yourself
to
be able to to do something with what knowledge that you acquired.
We're going to take a 1-minute break. I want to remind you that this is WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. You're listening to Straight Talk Radio. And when we come back, we'll wrap this up talking about what is it that we need to do better and what lessons did we learn that we have to let go of, and what are the things we picked up from other places that we should actually enfold into our culture. Thank you for listening. We'll be right back.
I am Mazi KK Odeluga.
Mazi Ejikeme Obasi.
Now Mazi Okachuku.
This is Straight Talk Radio, the world as we see it.
Coming to you from WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station.
Listen to us this and every Saturday at 4 to 5 p.m. U.S. Central, and this and every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. U.S. Central.
Ndewono.
WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. If you're enjoying the show, you can show it by donating as little as $1 a day. WGHC is a non-profit organization, and your donations are what keep us up and running. It's easy. Just visit our website at www.wghcfm.org. All donations are tax deductible. Visit our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at WGHC 98.3 FM. WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. Follow us at facebook.com/WGHC 98.3 FM to watch all of our live streams. iPhone users can download our WGHC 98.3 FM app in the App Store. All other users can download the TuneIn Radio app or visit tunein.com. You can also listen by phone. Dial 1-563-999-3221. Visit our website at www.wghcfm.org.
Hey, WGHC 98.3 FM would like to help you out. If you have a business or an event you would like to have us advertise for you, then we have some great packages for you to check out. Some of the packages include sponsored events, 30 to 60-second ads, and more. We have advertising space on our shows available starting at $200 and up. Send us an email at 98.3fmwghc@gmail.com to get more info. Also on our Facebook page at WGHC 98.3 FM. Don't forget to follow and like our page. Hey Chicago, your very own African Caribbean station, WGHC 98.3, is asking you to help support us, your favorite station. Help support our mission by donating $1 today on our website, WGHCFM.org, and our Facebook page. Click Donate Now and fill out the form, or call us at 773-942-7167. Your donation is helping us keep our station up and running and impacting our community. We are your voice, your music, your station.
WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. Follow us at facebook.com/WGHC 98.3 FM to watch all of our live streams. iPhone users can download our WGHC 98.3 FM app in the App Store. All other users can download the TuneIn Radio app or visit tunein.com. You can also listen by phone. Dial 1-563-999-3221. Visit our website at www.wghcfm.org.
Hey Chicago, your very own African Caribbean station, WGHC 98.3, is asking you to help support us, your favorite station. Help support our mission by donating $1 today on our website, WGHCFM.org, and our Facebook page. Click Donate Now and fill out the form, or call us at 773-942-7167. Your donation is helping us keep our station up and running and impacting our community. We are your voice, your music, your station.
This is WGHC 98.3 FM.
Welcome back to Straight Talk Radio, the world as we see it, on WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. We're discussing the youth and what should the youth do in Africa, especially in Nigeria, using Nigeria as the context where we couch a lot of our discussions. Welcome back. And before we took a break, we were just reminiscing on what used to be and what the youth should be able to do or accomplish based on what existed before and what was possible before the class of 66, as we keep calling them out, destroyed the fabric of the nation and the foundation that existed. And I think in the good Bible, there's this one question that I like, which says, if the foundations be destroyed, what has the righteous man done? So that makes you the righteous if you're listening to us. The foundation is destroyed. What are you doing to fix it? So, Mazio Deluga, I wanted to go back to what we usually do on this show, Straight Talk Radio, the world as we see it. We usually couch it on three things. We look at what is it that we are doing that is really, really good that we should move forward and continue to do. And what is it that we don't do very well, doesn't help us in any way, shape, or form. It's actually bad for us that we should let go. And what is it that we have seen in the communities that are working well that we don't have in our repertoire that we should pick up and continue to do? You want to start with any of those? Especially with regards to the youth.
Yes. One of the things that I think we do well is that we as Ndibo, we value children.
Yes.
At least that one I can tell you. Yes.
Madoka. Yes, one day the number.
So we value children, we must keep that up. Now, we need to continue to invest in the future of our children.
Well, somebody will say investing in the future, but I have all these stocks where I'm putting my money. That's my future.
The point I'm making is what the Igbo believes, that one generation makes a sacrifice for the next generation.
Yes.
So, nwoke na
Nazoka.
Nwoke na yofu trouser as na akwa na tanazi anuku.
Yes.
But all he's doing, he's not buying luxury cars
because he's investing in.
He's not buying the latest model in house in the latest fashion.
Yes.
He's not involved in that whole aggrandizement.
He's not trying to pick up a mortgage he can't pay.
He's not trying to pick up a mortgage he can't pay. He's not trying to follow the Joneses. But what the man is doing is working hard, trying to set up the next generation. Makana, now one generation, like I to advise Nolo.
Yes.
Now. So it speaks to a lot of what we do. The investment we must, as a father, in this backdrop of Father's Day.
Yes, yes.
What it means to be a father is that it is no longer about you.
You start naming your kids in Kiruka.
It is about the next generation.
Yes.
We do that very well.
Yes.
And we need to continue to do that. And make sure that we prepare them for life. Not so much as Koje Batego.
No.
If son is come home with $1 million, then I'll ask, I'll start pressuring my children into Kedifun Nebeme or what it bunu.
Okay, so
that's the point. Akalako onye di niche.
Yes.
Ezi afa ka ego.
Yes.
Nwata mere ife o kwesị ime. Irapụrụ maka onye ọbụla nwere nke edelia.
Yes.
Nwere nke delia. Nwere nke ọ ga-emenwu. Nwere nke ọma mmenwu.
Yes.
So those are the things. Our children are not supposed to be made to compete with against one another.
We're not trying to produce
or
robots.
We're not trying to make people overachievers.
Yes.
It's to help them to find out their niche in life and be able to fulfill and contribute to the community. And by that meaning, give back to the community that brought them up, the same values, the same children, the resources that were committed to the multiply of what I got. So let me stop so far.
So what we are doing very well is that we value the future and the kids. But what we are thinking we should stop doing is stop competing and stop trying to be like the Joneses. But instead, to go back to what we used to do before, which is investing in the future, which means the kids. Nankiruka. So you make sure that if you have to forgo that burger one more day, just so that you could put that money towards the college for your kid, or so that you could get them that lesson that grows their talent. If they play guitar very well, not everybody should be a doctor, and they sing very well. Maybe you should encourage that instead of trying to push them to the sciences where they will be frustrated trying to get that medical degree because nature will mama doctor.
No, imagine if Chinua Achebe became a doctor.
Oh man.
Then look at Cyprian Ekwensi, ended up being a pharmacist and never practiced pharmacy, but he became a literally giant.
For those who don't know, Chimamanda didn't start off being a writer.
Yes, Chimamanda.
Medical school.
No, she wanted to be a writer,
yes,
but she went to medical school and thankfully took herself out
we
in
know
the first
where the
year.
talent is, yes.
Took her at the first year and then found her niche.
Yes.
Went back to study what she believed, what she knew.
So there is arts and there is power in arts, and I know I mean,
the humanities.
It's a good thing my parents stopped me from thinking I'll be the next Pele, because that wasn't my calling. But sometimes it's better to actually encourage that. Somebody told me that there is something that we do, and I'm using this as an illustration, that we should stop doing, which is you see your kids climb on top of your couch and take off and jump and land, and you kneel them down and flog them properly for trying to break their legs. Well, watch the other side of a Caucasian family. The kid climbs on top of a couch, not as high as the one your kid climbed off of, and jumps. The next thing they do is take them and promptly register them in a gymnastic class, and they're representing your country in the Olympics. So we got to pick up some things by looking at the kids and seeing this is what they're exhibiting, this is the talent that they got, and encourage that, and not always trying to push them in where we think they should be. Just because Nancho will papa a doctor don't mean that I should put my kids through that mess.
Yes, but the other thing,
yes,
is what we've already, it came up in our conversation.
Yes,
there was a deliberate way that children were socialized to be useful in the community.
Yes.
And the child gets to a point.
Yes.
Meaning, let them test their wings. I think our generation have become overprotective.
Oh yes.
And we've actually stayed in the arena too long. So on a mekuzi, umuaka, they don't know how to cook, because the mother will not even allow them around the kitchen.
What are you doing in the kitchen?
Even when they're coming around the kitchen, because they might be slow in getting things done.
I don't want you getting cut by the knife, getting hurt by the...
All of a sudden, Adanne is now 22. She has no skills.
Yep.
In the homemaking skills. You got to go? But she might be very brilliant in academics, an accomplished young woman, or he's an accomplished young man, but he's not domesticated. He cannot even show up at work. You see, boarding school, when we used to have boarding school...
Oh, you wake. There was a time to wake up. If you missed it, you were in trouble.
But because that discipline is gone, because people now live at home.
Yes.
School.
And you could come to school late. I mean, after all, for all those things.
So, but my point being, we need to allow our children room
to be responsible human beings,
to acquire the skills they need to show that they can, that we've really invested in them.
Carry the burdens for them. Everybody has their own cross to bear.
No, look at, so now you see all these big pageantry around children, and I can a party or bloom work can organize a party at adults.
I don't fault people who have the money and the time to organize big Owambe for their kids graduating from daycare to go into preschool. But I am thinking, why? I mean, there's always a good time for celebration, and any excuse is a good time for celebration. But let's not go overboard with graduations from daycare to preschool, and graduation from preschool to kindergarten, and graduations from even elementary school. We gotta curtail it a little bit. Actually, we should set the bar a little bit higher. Graduating from college, we should celebrate it, but we should curtail it and tell you, hey, when you get that degree, your bachelor's, we will celebrate that. Or when you come out of trade school, when you're actually about to go get out of the house and go do your thing, we will throw a big party, send-off party for you, because then you start walking the talk.
Yes. And then, if I got to but this idea of Imanasne HD,
yes.
Now Marivogamu.
Yep. I forget what I'm H. We're not talking about you. Because I don't want people calling your parents and trying to send you to a gynecologist for tests. HED, tomorrow is pregnant.
Tomorrow is pregnant. We don't know what it will have.
Yes.
But at least we know he will have a child.
Yes.
So there are certain things we should know about the world that we live in.
Yes.
Meaning that it is more globalized now than it has ever been.
It's a smaller world.
It's a smaller world.
If you've been
it's a larger
to
village.
Disney, it's a small world after all.
Yes. So what does that require of us, especially in Igbo?
Yes.
You do not give up what is your birthright. You don't give up ife chinyele.
Yes. Chinanya.
Okike chinyela anyị, oke nke anyị ketara n'aka onye nwe anyị, nke Chineke kenyela anyị.
Yes.
Our gift.
Afam ka owo Okechukwu.
Oke nke Chukwu.
Yes.
That's right. Our own portion from the Lord.
It is my portion.
It is our language.
Except that now are denying their portion.
Yes.
They keep saying it's not my portion.
So, but my point is, our language is a gift from God.
Yes.
That is the medium that God feels we should be able to communicate with Him.
I expect, and I want to answer this before they ask, because somebody will say you're talking about language, I need to tell you one more time, the reason we do this is we have a wider audience. And now, some of the people that we're talking to, including young Igbo people, and the opportunity that they should have to actually learn the language. So if I just say Igbo, na sulo Igbo, even if I atoruji atorombo, because no when dada no, I chokahano. So we speak the language that they could listen to. But it's important. The language is important. I see Igbo Gade in all its full essence.
So I know your child might end up working in New Zealand.
Yes.
He might end up in Russia.
Yes.
In Alaska or Iceland. And then you have to learn a different language.
Yes.
Or maybe speak English.
Yes.
But if that is all you have.
Yes.
What we bring to the global community is our values, our culture, our worldview, and our thoughts.
Yes.
You see, and of all the things that have helped me, when I see my father in the sweet by and by,
in the glories,
and when I see my mother now, I always tell them, I say, thank you for insisting that I be raised, for raising me up as Onyibo.
Yes.
Because no matter what you do or say, you see, the children that we have are already wired as Ndibo.
Oh, yes.
So they may be speaking English and still be thinking in Igbo. But the problem they have is that they don't have all the capacity. If of kind of
contextualization. Yes.
No inu keji elioku. Do you understand?
Yes.
So we're able to do that.
Yes.
And I've left an Igbo. I've not lived in an Igbo since 1988.
Yes.
Yet, that is the value and that is the thought process that have made me successful in Chicago.
I recommend the book Metaphors We Live By. Igonya wa akwụkwọ ịghọta ife kpatara na ịma inu Igbo awụrụ metaphor. Inu Igbo awụrụ metaphor. Inu Igbo bụ proverbs, but metaphors we live by. Metaphors are close enough in the language that we use. We use a lot of metaphors. We use a lot of proverbs, but it's wise and good enough because in a concise language, you could get a lifetime of knowledge that you will guide. It's a principle that guides forever.
Yes. Because even within the fields of science and humanities that our people study, you find out that within those fields, you find clear usefulness for your Igbo philosophy.
Oh, yes.
Because when everybody else is talking about all that they know from the books, but an example of that, one person that is living that out before our eyes is Chimamanda.
Oh yes, oh yes.
A young woman today, any place she stands, before even she opens her mouth, she's made 4 or 5 solid statements before even she says a word. In her poise, how her clothing, how she carried herself, just stepping up to the podium, she has made several statements that people respect and acknowledge even before she now starts saying anything.
Oh, yes.
And you'll find out as she tells her stories.
Yes, that's what I was going. I like that you got back to that. Yes. Short, succinct, but to the point, and it gives you everything you need to know.
And she's able to communicate to every audience. At the end, they will clap. They give a standing ovation for saying, using an Igbo word and talking about expanding from her own worldview.
Think about the title, The Dangers of a Single Story, without even knowing what it's about. If you haven't seen the video, but you heard somebody say there is a danger in a single story, that will take you some thought, even before you hear her thoughts on it. That's enough said. That's because of her Igbo-ness.
But you see, Kedu, where did she pull that from? She wasn't taught that in Harvard.
No.
But all she was able to articulate in English is even the Igbo na ife kulu, ife akude. There is always, you see, that is an Igbo philosophy. If ada ofonya da akusoya. Ife kulu,
yes.
Ife akude.
Yes.
That is quintessential. There's always a balancing.
I'm so many people that are misusing this. Yeah, which means give support to this thing with something. That's not what it means. It could be misused, but an Igbo philosophy that actually gets you to live a life well worth living, an examined life.
Yes, and that goes to this other issue, storytelling at the family level.
Yes.
How many of our children know their history of their family?
Yes.
You need to stop telling them, oh no, what do you mean? The man conquered his environment, succeeded, lived his life, had children, had a civilization that he operated under. He has a story. What is that story?
Is a journey just come. They were living way before the formal said in the British. And they had that they were able to do math and trade and do all those things.
The man is literate in his language and culture.
Yes.
And then you brought another
culture and trying to force him.
And then he mastered it. But it's not like he didn't go to formal school to even master it.
Yes.
But he knew it before even he came to him. So because you see, and that is one of the things.
So stop subtracting from yourself.
That's right.
Yes.
So tell them the story of their grandfathers, their great-grandfathers,
not
their
what
ancestors.
They don't do, but what they did.
Their ancestors.
Yes.
Onyobu ebosi, ifomelo.
This is the most important part of self-identification. Because yes. And the way to know is to actually know your history so that somebody don't come tomorrow and start changing your story for you.
That's right. You should be an expert on your own story.
Yes.
You should be able to tell your family story.
See,
yes.
I'm the story. I'm how the fourth generation from me, how we came to be, how my family landed and where they stayed. And I know that because my parents made sure.
Yes.
And I'm making sure that my kids know that story too.
Yes. So every family story should be told. Again, what are we talking about? We are talking about preparing our youth to live in a global world.
Yes.
Now, advocacy for the young people. Advocacy is not a suicidal action.
No.
You see, if again, because you see, there's some people who feel that it must happen now.
We are not do or die. There is no do or die.
Do or die is not in the Igbo lingo.
Somebody saying do or die is willing to sacrifice your life, not theirs.
No. The do or die, if you look at it, so no Igbo si na anu na-ata. He knows that yes, he who fights and runs away, like when I work in Jamaica, Bob Marley.
Okay, yes.
Also, now he who fights and runs away, lives to fight
for another day. Yes.
So now anu na lota na
echibunta. Yes.
You got to go. Now, but na anu na-ata na echibunta.
Yes.
Which means we have a consistent focus
on the future,
on where we are going. Where we are going, yes. We know what the fight is. We are not trying to expend all our bullets today. We are not even trying to die.
Strategic. That's
the point.
Yes.
No, it's not getting Elon Musk. Yes. Na ebe dinta si na ebe elekoba. Elekenti oba.
Yes.
So if the strategy changes, you change. If the environment changes, you change.
Change is constant.
Bupute ukwu na ilo na-asị no tata ka ga-eme ife ga-eme echi nya meta
mba ka ndị na-agụ egwu mebi nya wete sị gị mara ife ahụ ị ga-eme echi gị mee ya taa ka ifo no echi dị ime
amara ife ọ ga-amụ.
Yes.
The things we are pursuing today may materialize tomorrow.
Yes.
Maka echi dị ime.
And don't worry by tupu chi ejie if na strategy need iche. If na actually na I change strategy if ọzọ.
Maka anụ gba aja ọsọ.
Agba ya aja
egbe.
Yes.
So those are all concepts to allow us to give room in our advocacy, whatever effort we are making.
Yes.
It was General Patton that told his soldiers during the Second World War, famously the man said, that no man wins a war by dying for his country, but by making the other man die for his country.
That's right.
Did you hear what I said? That yes. No man wins a war by dying for his country. Make the other guy make that but commitment. You make the man die for his country.
That's right.
So let him be the martyr and the hero, because that's the only way you win the war.
Yes.
So, so because anya dikunu. Follow your heart, but also walk with your head and allow reason to prevail. What we have on the ground now in our Igbo is a political process that should produce the best leader that can encapsulate or embody the values and the aspirations of Ndibo. And if we fail to produce that kind of leadership, we will not even survive if we were in Biafra. That's the point.
Yes.
You see, so the point, while we wait for that place, we must continue to create the right environment within Anibo to make Anibo the best place that it should be. Because if the politicians, those who represent you, are not representing you well today, when you have now fought and won that space,
yes,
you will still have the same problem. but you can start shaping what that place will be today.
It's also
Yes. So now as now Equator, we're making it. As you make your bed, so will it be.
Yes.
So this is the time for the young people. Please invest your life in preparing for your future, and don't allow anybody to ask you to sacrifice your future, your opportunity, or your life. It is yours to fulfill. And so step away from the dangers and the rhetorics and move into the concrete place of action.
Strategy.
Because as a lot of what we have done in these last few years, we work on demonstration.
Yes.
Meanwhile, brick after brick, they are developing. They are now one.
Lagos, Eco City, or whatever we're calling it. Ilu na Kanu na all these places. Railway now from Sahara all the way to Ebe Commerce Naga. They are just can't when they move around. They are making commerce available in the interland by putting the transportation system that will get it there. Now, Obo na Zwafia de Tuanga Malana market Ebe kitchen majalo Ebe Nazwafia. Ebe if a wiki boom take it to the ports and back. Come majalo Ebe Madam Guru. So these are the things we should be fighting for. But before I do that, Lucky Dube, who was saying that everybody is fighting for peace, nobody is fighting for justice. Peter Tosh. Equal rights and justice is what he was saying. What I'm saying is justice don't go fighting for peace in the middle. Justice means na arodege or dionya ebebelu like we've said.
Yes.
Justice means that na ima chimadi imino no ki we nweta that thing. Ima skip you treat them as you if Jesus well no. You maloko see like you treat you treat you also like that. That's what the youth should be aiming for. But what that means is make sure that nobody takes what is yours, but also make sure you don't take what is anybody else's. Masisi kachineke mezioku. Kachifon carbon.
Igbo garden. Cordeli Igbo ma.
Friend from see the first time, after trust instant. Why you get anything you like? Long as you are right, then me alright. Me know you man, that's why I'm alive.
Your voice, your music. GHC 98.3 FM.